Hey, Inner Warriors, I just read Powers of X, House of X, and there are some deep thought subjects in this book that we're about to get into. First, a little intro. Every story, fictional or otherwise, is our story, a deep reflection of humanity's fears, triumphs, and failures. Even more profound than that, based on the scientific philosophy of idealism and Carl Jung's collective unconscious, though we are all individuals, we're all the same on an unaware, universal, unconscious level. This means a story written by Jonathan Hickman, or any individual for that matter, calls upon ideas shared between beings of the same universal consciousness, like you and me, whether we agree or disagree with them. The same goes for any story written. And because of that fact, every story can be used to unlock hidden truths and ideas within ourselves that can help us unleash our inner warrior and achieve our goals. Today's story is Powers of X and House of X by Jonathan Hickman. Powers of X and House of X shows us multiple future timelines, and there seems to be a common thread between them all, besides the fact that they're all very, very bad for mutants. Humans, Homo sapiens, in an effort to not be left behind by the evolution of mutants, artificially evolve themselves using machines. These machines eventually become the superior race and destroy everyone else, i.e. mutants and humans. Or humans and machines become so linked that they become indistinguishable from each other, changing from Homo sapiens to Homo novissima, which, after a quick Google search, I learned means most recent in Latin, by the way. Either way, the mutants' natural evolution seems to lose each time. Now that we've seen the big picture, let's narrow it down to you and me. Let's see how it relates to your story. Have you ever felt yourself trying to keep up with others? Sometimes we compare ourselves to people that the media makes us believe are massive figures in the world. These comparisons usually demotivate us because we feel the gap between us and them is too wide. Elon Musk has more money than I do. Chris Hemsworth has more muscle than I do. Kim Kardashian has more influence than I do. Cardi B got a bag and fixed her teeth, so her veneers look better than my crooked natural teeth. The next level of comparison comes from our own social circles. These can be just as demotivating because the gap is smaller, yet we're still not there. Bob makes more money than I do. I wish I looked as slim as Jessica. Johnny has more friends and followers than I do. Why can't I pull off a Speedo like Barry? Sometimes, in order to get what we want and close those gaps, we'll move up the corporate ladder or build a business to a 7-figure company, take performance enhancers to get that movie star body, or pretend to be someone we're not to get followers and friends. Only to find out we're not happy with who we've become. This is the same thing that happened to Homo novissima. Humans merged with the machines to force their evolution. And one Homo novissima, in particular, the librarian, questions all humanity has done. He was ready to take their race and ascend, becoming one with the phalanx, a cybernetic species that controls whole galaxies, which would bring Homo novissima to the next step of evolution, but would cause them to lose their individuality in the process. The librarian doubts whether they should ascend or not. He doubts whether he should give up his humanity and individuality altogether to be at the next level of evolution. Just like we sometimes reflect and notice that we were so focused on our goal that we didn't like who we became as we tried to reach it. The lesson here: take time to stop and reflect on yourself and your journey as you strive for your goals. Do you like who you are? If not, what can you change? One of the philosophically coolest mutant powers is revealed to be possessed by Moira McTaggart. Her ability? To reincarnate in the same time period and as the same person, with all the memories of her past life. Almost like the film Groundhog's Day, where the same day repeats over and over again, but only the main character knows that days are repeating. Except instead of a single day repeating like Groundhog's Day or Christmas Day, or that one where it's your birthday and you always die, your entire life repeats instead. In Moira's case, she gets to retry her life many different times, but she comes to learn that no matter what Xavier, Magneto, or Apocalypse try, mutants always lose. What would you do if you knew that everything you tried always led to failure? How many times have you tried to get a job, build a business, get a relationship, buy a house, or make more money and fail? How many times have you been ghosted by a potential partner? Or how many times have you sent in job applications and heard crickets? Moira eventually lets Xavier and Magneto in on the secret that she's lived many lives that all end with Xavier and Magneto failing. And in doing so, Xavier and Magneto learn that they have to change themselves and their mission in order to succeed. By changing themselves and their goals, Xavier and Magneto come up with the mutant nation of Krakoa. Xavier stopped trying to live in harmony with humans and instead built a nation where mutants lived in harmony with one another. The lesson here: sometimes we have to look at who we are and who we need to become. And sometimes we have to look at what our goals are and what they could be instead. A combination of pivoting our goals and changing who we are can create a new pathway to a better goal. Maybe the job, business, relationship, or house you're after isn't quite the right one. Maybe you have to find better ones. Maybe you're swiping right on all the wrong people. Or you're taking the wrong approach in how you apply to jobs. Maybe you, yourself, have to change. Maybe you need to create new thoughts and habits to get you closer to your goals. Maybe you have to become the person that someone would want to date. Or maybe you have to become the person that the job would want to hire. You basically have to look at both ends of the stick. Are you what has to change, or is it the goal you're heading towards that has to change? By the way, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be informed of any new deep dives and lessons coming up. When Xavier enacts his plan, he makes some very important strategic moves. One of the most important moves was using Krakoa's plans to create human drugs L, I, and M. Drug L extends human life by 5 years, drug I produces an adaptive universal antibiotic, and drug M cures diseases of the mind in humans. Leveraging the drugs, Xavier and Magneto are able to convince other nations to recognize Krakoa as its own nation. Any nation that recognizes Krakoa will be sold the drugs. As Xavier mentions, had he been his old self, he would have given the drugs away freely. But he now knows that if he were to give it away for free, humans would still try and kill mutants. What is the lesson here? You have to leverage your abilities, skills, and what you have to offer in order to get what you want. You need to be useful to get something in return. You need to serve in order to receive. You need to offer your skills to the job. You need to offer fun and love to get the relationship. You need to offer results to get the business. You need to offer money to get the house. Another major revelation of House of X, Powers of X is the fact that Xavier found a way to bring mutants back to life using genetic and mental backups. The process involves a clone body that is time altered to their current age and an upload of their mind from Cerebro. But what does this mean? Are the mutants that come back the same mutants that died? Each mental backup has to be updated by Xavier so the backup has the most up-to-date memories and thoughts of the mutant. This is similar to the show Altered Carbon or the show Upload, where consciousness is able to be saved and transported. But the implications of removing death bring up some interesting questions. Do you let mutants grow old and die of old age, or do you simply clone a younger body to place their consciousness in? You might be in your 30s dating an 89-year-old that died of a heart attack in Krakoa, but not even know it. What happens if you upload the consciousness to two different bodies? Are they the same person, or have you essentially created a new life? If you can't kill anyone permanently, what becomes the punishment for murder? Is it still murder? Or is the charge property damage instead because the old body was destroyed and a new body is needed for resurrection? Are all those mind backups considered alive, or are they only alive once they make contact with a biological body? What's the lesson here? There are always consequences, even in removing consequences. Have you ever thought, I could just quit my job since I'd rather just lay on a beach? In fact, I could just live on a beach with fresh air, water, and no need for money or responsibilities. What you're really trying to do is remove the consequences of quitting your job. Okay, fine, let's play this alternate timeline out. You can quit your job and live on a beach, but what happens when you need food? I'll just fish for food. Okay, fine. What happens when a storm comes and you need shelter? I'll build a shelter using leaves and sticks. Okay, first off, good luck with that. And second off, what happens when you want to visit your friends or family? I'll ask them to pick me up from the beach. And if they ask you to join them for a night out at a bar or a restaurant, or if they ask you to see a show with them, remember you gave up your job and you have no money. At that point, you have two options. Either become a burden on them when you freeload off their money, at which point they'll eventually stop asking you to come along, or the second option is you keep declining their invitation, at which point they will eventually stop asking you to come along. Every removal of a consequence brings about more consequences. We have to live with the fact that every action has a reaction. Every action has consequences, whether we agree with the consequences or not. Instead of fighting the consequences, we have to work within them. If you say, I hate my job, I'd rather be laying on a beach, why not find a job you love that either has lots of vacation time so you can lay on the beach, or gives you the ability to work remotely so you can sit on the beach as you work? So, what have we learned today? Take time to stop and reflect on yourself and your journey as you strive for your goals to make sure you'll still like yourself when you get to your destination. When met with failure over and over again, stop and determine whether you have to become someone else to get your goal, or if the goal you're heading towards is the thing that has to change. You need to be useful to get something in return. You need to serve to receive. Instead of fighting consequences in life, we have to work within them to achieve our goals. By the way, if you're working in a job you hate and you're struggling to get a new job or shift your career into a new industry, I've developed a program called Make a Comic, Manifest Your Dream Job, which will take you all the way from where you are now to actually working in your dream job. The program helps you get clear on what job would be your best fit, your dream job, get clear on your dream companies, the companies you'd like to work for, tackle any fears in moving towards your goal to keep you motivated, create action plans to bridge the gap between you and your dream job quickly, and get referrals to help you get your foot in the door. I found the best way of making this experience fun and motivating is by also helping you make your very own comic book during the process. What will you experience by taking this program? A clear vision of what you want to do, who you want to do it for, and why, an identity shift from your old career to your new career, a completed tangible comic to represent your new identity, a beefed up LinkedIn and resume to help you get your dream job, projects that give you practical experience in your dream job, referrals that will help you get your foot in the door of your dream companies. If you're up for it, we can have a brief 15-minute chat to explore this more. No pressure, no hardcore sales tactics here. If I think I can help you, I'll let you know in a call. If not, I'll let you know that too. Interested? Click the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, this deep dive into House of X, Powers of X, let me know, and please share it with fans of comics, Marvel, or X-Men. Also, let me know what stories you'd like me to deep dive into in the future. I just received the X-Men run. I ordered it on Amazon, and that takes place after House of X, Powers of X, so there may be more X-Men deep dives coming soon. I'm also willing to do some deep dives into DC as well, perhaps a Killing Joke or Court of Owls or Under the Red Hood deep dive. Also, click here to see more lessons on achieving your goals and improving your lives from other pop culture icons such as Thor, Doctor Strange, Sonic the Hedgehog, Batman and Robin, Vegeta, and much more.